Hi, I'm Leo Barry, the Practice Director here at Vibe Legal, and this is the first in our series of short videos about how you can prepare for family court proceedings in financial settlement and what you can do to best prepare for those proceedings. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do to best prepare for your initial consultation with your family lawyer. If you take the common scenario where the parties have decided to separate and you've made an appointment with your family lawyer, but it's your first time going through the process and you really have no idea about what to expect from the meeting or what you should do to prepare for the meeting. So these are my top 4 tips on how to prepare for that meeting and how to get the most out of it. So tip number 1 is to bring some relevant documentation with you. It won't come as any surprise to you that lawyers love documents, so some of the basic documentation that you should be able to get your hands on quite easily and bring to an initial consultation would include copies of your current bank statements and mortgage statements, credit card statements, copies of your current superannuation statement, your 3 most recent pay slips, your 3 most recent financial returns, and any shareholdings you might have. You should get statements for those as well. Tip number 2, this is basic and practical tip, is to just make sure you get to the appointment early. Usually there will be some paperwork for you to complete before the meeting starts. That can take up to 10 or 15 minutes. You also may have some issues with parking, and the last thing that you want to do is arrive to the meeting flustered and late. You may not be able to think straight, and you may not get all the time you want with your lawyer, particularly if they've got a tight schedule. So tip number 2 is to just make sure you get there at least 10 or 15 minutes before the appointment is due to start. Tip number 3 is to bring a notepad to the meeting. Again, it's a simple thing, but you will want to make a note of the advice that your lawyer is giving you, and more than likely your lawyer will give you some work to follow up on the meeting, get some additional documentation, and you will want to make a clear note of that to remind you of what you need to do as a follow-up to the meeting. And my final tip is to bring an open mind to the initial meeting. The words "my friend said" is the last thing that your family lawyer wants to hear at an initial meeting. In my experience, no 2 family law property settlement cases are the same, and if you come to the meeting with an expectation that your case will follow the path that your friend's case took, or you will get the same outcome, then you're likely to be disappointed and you're likely to not take on board the advice that your lawyer is giving you. Your family lawyer will be experienced in reaching settlements in numerous different ways and will try to find the best way of settling your matter in a just and equitable way. So if you can bring an open mind to the initial meeting, in my experience, you will get a lot more out of that consultation with your lawyer. So those are my top 4 tips for how to prepare for an initial consultation. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at Vibe Legal, and watch out for our next video, which will be available shortly. Thank you.